So we'll look at the certification and the NCPP updates from Neil Gelhaus.
Good afternoon. I'm going to give a brief update on some of the activities that have been going on at the National Center for Pavement Preservation over the past year. Start out, these are our 2019 partnership meetings. We're having the first meeting of the year here in Charleston for the Southeast. The Northeast meeting will be coming up in Pennsylvania in a couple weeks. Our other two partnership meetings will be this fall. So if there's interest in sending a representative from the partnership to another meeting or any information that needs to be exchanged with one of the other partnerships, these are the dates of those meetings. And then of course, any of our industry partners who are interested in attending the other meetings, we're certainly like to have you there. Next, we have selected a date for the next national meeting. It's going to be in May of 2021 in Indianapolis, Indiana. We've had issues with states getting travel authorization to go to this meeting since it's been on the presidential election cycle the last two times. So we've moved it off of every fourth year, that election cycle, to try to improve participation at that meeting. The site for the meeting is still within a day's drive of many of the states. The meeting is going to be at the JW Marriott downtown. We have the full ballroom for this, so there's going to be plenty of space for exhibitors. We're going to be working to put together a high-quality technical program and demonstrations, so please save the date for this event. Our TSP2 state contributions, we continue to have the highest participation of any of the technical service programs at AASHTO. You see here our contributions over the past 5 years. The cycle runs from July 1st to June 30th each year. We have a handful of states that are still working to get their contributions sent in for this year. I believe most of the states from the Southeast have contributed already. So I would expect that our contributions this year would be in line with those of the previous 2 years. One thing we're working to do is increase local agency participation in the partnerships. We do have a number of local agencies that participate. We're pursuing a membership category for local agencies. The hope is that this will allow these same agencies to participate year after year, be more involved in the partnership. TSP2 Oversight Panel is going to be meeting next month to have further discussion about what form that may take, what sort of membership they're going to have, and a fee structure for that. So more information about that should be available after they meet next month. A couple of other initiatives we have to try to reach out to local agencies. We are going to be exhibiting this year at the National Association of County Engineers meeting to try to get the word out about the things that go on through the partnerships. We are also going to continue efforts through our pavement preservation councils. We have one in Florida, and we have a Georgia, South Carolina council as well. I'd like to also draw attention to our YouTube page. Each of our meetings are recorded. We have a presence on YouTube, the National Center for Pavement Preservation. If you haven't looked us up, please do. We have about 270 subscribers currently. All of the partnership meeting presentations are available on there, as well as a number of other technical videos. Our views over the past few years have been increasing, as well as the number of minutes watched from each of these meetings. So we've also seen the number of minutes per view is also increasing, so we see that as a valuable tool for people. Another way that we've categorized some of this information, on the TSP2 website, you can look at the video library. We've categorized a number of the high-value presentations by topic area, so if there's a particular subject that you're looking to get more information about, please go here and hopefully you'll be able to find some of what you're looking for. I'd also like to take the opportunity briefly to mention training opportunities we have available through NCPP. There's a number of courses shown on the slide that are available. These are instructor-led training in person. There's a training booklet that's given to each participant, and there's CEUs available from Michigan State University for anyone who participates. So if any of these topics are of interest to you and your organization, please reach out to us. I'm going to talk briefly about our involvement with the EDC4 HOW project from Federal Highway. Jason Dietz will probably be talking about this in a little more detail later on. Part of this project, we're holding 10 preservation peer-to-peer exchanges. We're about halfway through that currently. I believe we've done 5, so a few of the states in here have participated in one already, and there's another 1 or 2 that are going to be happening a little later on this spring. Another part of this project was an update of the existing pavement preservation checklist series. Probably quite a few of you have seen the paper booklets with the preservation checklist. Those are being updated, so there's a content update to that. They're also being converted to a web app, so they'll be available through the App Store on Apple, the same on Google. So you're able to download that, and there's going to be a little more functionality included. There's the opportunity to add notes to it, to check off specific points within the checklist. So in addition to the 15 that have been updated, there's 8 new topics that are being added to that series, and those are shown on this slide. I would expect that those would be available probably late summer, early fall, so look for those. I want to talk briefly about the Emulsion Task Force. That was moved under the TSP2 in 2015, and the task force continues to meet probably 2 to 3 times per year. And there's really 4 core areas that they're involved with. The first being an effort to develop performance-based methods and specs for asphalt emulsions. The goal of that is to develop performance-graded specs for preservation treatments. They're also encouraging the adoption of uniform national standards, advanced quality assurance, training, and certification. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. And finally, ensure the implementation of new test methods, quality systems, and future research. So I'm talking about the certification program. This was a program that was approved by the AASHTO TSP2 Oversight Panel as well as endorsed by the ISSA Board of Directors. It's been around for almost 3 years now. And this past summer at the AASHTO Maintenance Committee, a resolution was adopted that encouraged states to require certification of both contractor personnel and agency personnel that are involved in the design and construction of preservation treatments. So why certification? The idea behind this is that it confirms that a person has the necessary knowledge of the treatment through a verified examination process. So this is a closed book exam. Material to prepare for it, there's a web-based training program that was put together by ISSA, and there's a certification session guide that was developed by NCPP, and these serve as the source material for these certification exams. So the value of certification, there's really 4 areas to that, and it's improving skills and knowledge for contractors, agencies, and consultants, establishing credentials that reflect personal achievement and recognition by an independent third party, is providing greater assurance that quality is reflected in the preservation projects, and it demonstrates a commitment to pavement preservation by both the agency and the contractor. So currently the program includes 3 separate certifications. There's one for slurry systems, which covers slurry seal, polymer modified slurry seal, and microsurfacing. There's chip seals and crack treatments. And there's a separate exam developed for agency versus contractor. So the agency exam is generally 50 questions and the contractor exam is 80 questions. And they're true, false, multiple choice format. All of the exams have 6 basic topic areas. Those are project selection, materials, design, equipment, construction, and finally quality assurance. So to date, we've given about 600 exams. We have 412 that have currently passed the exam. The agency pass rate is about 62%, and the contractor pass rate is about 70%, so it is a challenging exam, but I think the people that adequately prepared do very well in the exam. Those who pass are entered into a national database on the TSP2 website, so if a contractor takes the exam and somebody from the agency wants to verify that, they can go on the website and look that information up. They can sort it by name, by company they're with. So there's a number of different ways to get that information. We also give those who pass the exam a certification card like the one shown on the screen. That's valid for 3 years after the exam date. We offer a number of ways to take that exam. It's offered in conjunction with our partnership meetings. For large groups, and by that I'm probably talking about 20, 25 people, an exam can be scheduled at your facility. We also offer opportunity to take it through the consortium of college testing centers around the country. I think there's about 400 or 500 of these centers, so most states have several that someone can go and take. And that's a good option for people who want to take it individually, small groups, people that need to retake exams, things like that. And finally, we've had good participation in the certification program through the ISSA Slurry Systems Workshop, which is held in January each year in Las Vegas. The states shown in yellow are the states that someone has participated to date in the certification program, whether that's somebody that's a contractor, a consultant, an agency. There's been 3 states in the Southeast that have participated over the last year, so we're starting to see more participation in this program. Another piece to this certification program I want to talk about is something that's new over the past year. In addition to individual certification, there is a certification process for contractor companies. And so this past August, we issued the first company certification to Seal Coating Inc. in Massachusetts. We wrote up an article for the winter edition of the Pavement Preservation Journal that covered some of what they went through to obtain that certification. And then we've got a photo here of some of the leadership of their company who received individual certification and then led their company through that certification process. So the company certification really involves 3 core components. The first is the development of a detailed quality control plan. And then there's key employees who pass the individual certification. And these key employees for the contractor would include the superintendent, the foreman, and the equipment operators. And then finally, documentation that field employees participate in 4 hours of classroom and 4 hours of on-the-job training each year. So classroom experience could be something that's led in-house by a company trainer or superintendent. It could involve them bringing in a third party to teach instructor-led training. It could also involve participation at the ISSA Slurry Systems Workshop. So there's a number of different avenues to fulfill that requirement. Talk a little bit about the quality control plan. This is really the main part of the company certification. Quality control plan is the system used by a contractor to monitor, assess, and adjust their production or placement processes to ensure that the final product meets the specified level of quality. The idea here is that this is a document that the contractor is going to bring to the pre-construction meeting. It's going to lay it out and share it with the agency so that both parties understand what's expected. And here's sort of a template of what we have for an acceptable quality control plan. Starts out with scope and reference documents. So this is going to cover applicable standards and guidelines like AASHTO, ASTM, ISSA, and state requirements that in the states that the contractor works in. Next, there's definition of terminology related to the treatment. Third is the quality control personnel. So this is identifying who those certified people are within the contractor. Next is quality control testing facilities and equipment. This is covering things like who's testing the emulsion, who's testing the aggregate, who's developing the mix design, how are material substitutions being handled, things of that nature. Next is materials control. This is talking about what type of material is allowed on the project, what are the sources of the material. For example, if we're talking about microsurfacing, it's not just the emulsion and the aggregate, but we're also talking about water, mineral filler, things like that. Quality control sampling and testing. We're talking about things like what is the lot size for the aggregate or the emulsion? How frequently is the material being tested? Where is the sample being taken? Production equipment. We're talking about any equipment that's going to be used on the project. Going back to talking an example with microsurfacing, are we using a truck-mounted paver, continuous-mounted paver? You know, all of these things are going to be spelled out in that quality control plan. Treatment placement and workmanship. This is really everything that's being done in construction, starting with the calibration. So how is the calibration going to be performed? How often is it going to be performed? It should then move into pre-application. So what needs to be done with the pavement surface to prepare it? Has the road been swept? Have the cracks been sealed? There should also be some information about checks on the equipment as well. And then the plan should cover the placement of the treatment itself. Then we move into documentation. So what records are going to be kept and where are they going to be kept? Finally, one of the more important components of the quality control plan is nonconformance and corrective action. So we spent a lot of time talking about when things go right on a project, but there needs to be information in the plan about what do we do if something goes wrong. So detail what potential problems might arise and how are they going to be handled. If there's drag marks or uneven joints, what's going to be done to fix that? So as you can see, the idea here is it's going to be a detailed document, could be 15 to 20 pages in length. But the benefit of having the document and having certified people is that we're raising the bar on the quality of the projects that are being done out there. Plan is of interest to people. We have a template that they can use if the companies are interested in pursuing company certification. We can give a template and we can sort of have some discussion about how best to put that together.
The preceding was produced by the National Center for Pavement Preservation. More information can be found on the web at pavementpreservation.org. Additional support provided by Michigan State University.